Welcome to another episode of the Traveling Hoopers. I am your host, Alan Pettigrew, and one of our co-hosts, I guess. Y'all
Co-host.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be a little late, but we got Calvin. And go ahead and introduce yourself for the millionth time.
what's up, y'all? I'm Calvin McGowan. I never think these things through, so my intros are never usually all that good. All right.
Yeah. But before we start to press and record, I'm just going ahead and let y'all know that this was the last weekend of AAU basketball, so I did not watch any of the series because I was literally for the past like 48 to 60 hours I've been watching nothing but high school kids. So the high school portion of this is going to be, I don't know, worth listening to. But I'm gonna start off with the NBA talk. And like I was telling Calvin before we started, I have an issue with the fact that Anthony Davis did not fully dominate these past two games. Like he did have 34 in the last game, but there's no reason why at 6'10", 200. Let me pull up this man's exact weight. Because Anthony Davis is basically a bear. He's like almost 7 feet tall, like 260 pounds. Let's see. Uh, Anthony Davis,
According to ESPN, he's 6'10", 253.
253, 7'6" wingspan. I get that you also have to go up against one of the tougher players in the league, and PJ Tucker, who's 6'5", 250 pounds. But dog, just hook shots. Just be a center. I know you want to play the four because you have the finesse and all these skills and you were a point guard. But you got to be 250. You got to be 7 foot and 250. Just for 7 games. It doesn't have to be the entire series. Like you could probably get away with it in like game 5 when they're on the ropes, but just for 7 games. And I'm being nice. 7 games, because you're not gonna get this opportunity where you play the Clippers. You're gonna have to be finesse. You're gonna have to knock down perimeter shots. You're gonna have to like create off the dribble. Here, you just take the easy buckets, bro. Like what are you doing?
But and like I also didn't watch a whole lot of NBA ball, but I did catch the end of that. The last game in the Jazz Nugget series. And like as we're all aware, with the Jazz are 1-all right now. With wait, are they?
The Jazz didn't make it. The Nuggets did.
I mean, not the Jazz, the Nuggets. My bad.
Yeah.
The Nuggets are 1-all with the Clippers right now.
Yeah.
But of course, like that in a series that was dominated by like dudes putting up ridiculous numbers, and by dudes I mean Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell. That last game was kind of just like it was like a low scoring, like just grind out type of game. If you were in love, if you're one of them people who just like doesn't care about defense and all that and just like scoring, it wasn't the game for you. It wasn't. The ending was kind of wild though.
Yeah.
Like
Jamal Murray's getting back to Chucker status, bro. I really thought we were seeing something. I do understand that he is going to against what like a top 5 perimeter defensive like tandem. Realistically, the best perimeter defensive tandem that we have in the league, but like this shooting is awful, bro.
what's he looking like right now?
All right, so in this against the Clippers, just the past 2 games, 5 of 16 from 3, 15 of 36 from everywhere else, the field goal.
That's...
And he scored 27 and 12 points respectively. 27 is not bad, but on 21 shots, I don't like the efficiency there. But you know how I am.
Yeah. I'm assuming they won that game.
Yeah, they won that game.
Okay.
Yeah, I really needed. I don't like the way how Google sets this, like their stats up. Like, I also want to know who won the game. That is a stat that is also cared about. Google, I know you're listening. Change it.
Um, but what was it? The Miami Heat are currently dominating their series against the Bucks.
That's like super on brand. Like if you like listen to like NBA Twitter and like the like journalists who work their salt, they all said like the same thing. Like they don't really want to see it. They don't really want to see the Heat, especially with like Bam Adebayo being like one of the four like one-on-one defenders that can neutralize Giannis. And probably it's more like three because I don't know what Al Horford can do anymore. Jimmy Butler, for Jimmy Butler to be so good, his stats are like so underwhelming, bro.
It's, I mean, like it's probably also like he does bring that extra energy though, and I don't know, maybe some of that is enough to just kind of power through some of the more mediocre stats because it's just like he'll pick up all the extra stuff that might not show up on there, and like he'll play the defense because he's kind of obsessed with putting in the work.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna hold my tongue on that. I am drastically wrong. That man scored 40 points in the first game. Then he scored 13. Then he scored 30. And then he scored 17
Okay then.
and shot like well from the floor, except from three. He can't really do that. I don't. When did that happen?
Uh, at some point. But in this game that I'm looking at the stats for this game, the Bucks won. I guess this one, what, like yesterday?
Yeah, the most recent one.
Yeah, like Giannis. I mean, he shot fine, but like he only took 10 shots. He hit 8 of them though.
Yeah,
Um,
he also hurt his ankle, so
okay, I
I
didn't know
think
that.
he had in there
Oh, he
too.
only played 11 minutes too.
Oh, so he had cleaned up early then.
Um, Middleton played 48 minutes and had 36 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds.
I mean, he is the offense when uh, Giannis isn't there, so like he kind of needs to do that.
Yeah, but it's just like he's probably gonna have to do that the rest of the series though. Well, I don't know how bad Giannis like might be hurt or whatever, but assuming even if he's not that hurt, like because
Yeah,
he did that and they like just barely won.
yeah. So with the Giannis thing, he already hurt the ankle that he hurt in the last game, like in that series.
Hmm.
So I think they have him listed as questionable for this next game. But that's gonna have you looking mad. It's gonna have you looking super bad if you miss like the elimination game for ankle sprain, even though it could be like a really severe one where it's basically like unwalkable. Which, if you've played basketball long enough, you've probably had one of those. And it's not like you're 5'9", 150 pounds walking on it. Like, nah, bro, you 6'11", like 260. Like, you should probably not.
Yeah, but it's also for me like assume if hypothetically it is that bad. Not saying it is. Hopefully it isn't. But like don't. I mean like KD tried to play through that injury and like yeah, he
Yeah.
missed the whole season.
Look, as a person who is a KD stan, I refuse to believe that that man just had a right ankle sprain. His Achilles was messed up like 2 games before, and they let my man go out there and looking stupid tore his ACL. That hurt my heart.
Oh yeah, that was. I felt like it was dumb when it happened, but that's a whole separate thing. It's yeah. Um, Steve Kerr is not that good of a coach. Anyway, um,
Look, I don't know how much time you got. We can talk about how much you don't think Steve Kerr is that good of a coach.
well, most of it for me is just kind of like it's not like people like he's a great coach, but like the players he got were largely already where they were at when he showed up. Um, like he's got rings, but like he also had the best team in the league for basically all of them. Like they probably could have won those without him. They won a bunch of games. What didn't Luke Walton get a job off that? Like
Yeah,
he's some other stuff.
yeah, because he won like 50. He won like a lot of games with them. I think they had like a long ass winning streak with Luke Walton coaching. But hey, Steve Kerr's good at basketball apparently.
And like the reality with like the NBA in particular is like it's very much just the amount like the success is very much about like the how talented your roster is. 'Cause what I think this book I read years ago, Scorecasting, I think it was, that got into like various analytics stuff and whatever. Um, like try to figure out how valuable coaches were, and Phil Jackson is generally considered the greatest basketball coach of all time. Fair, but like putting him as your head coach gets you an extra 11 wins, which isn't insignificant, but it's just like he's the best, and like he's not gonna make an absolutely terrible team amazing.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. I get he'll add 11 wins, but that makes me want to look at what his record is when he does not have Shaq and Kobe, Kobe and Paul Gasol, Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, or I don't know, Michael Jordan. Like what is?
I'm, I mean, the year that they didn't have Jordan, they still won like 50 games.
Yeah, he had Scottie Pippen, top 50 all time. What are we
I
doing here?
mean, I mean that's fair. Speaking of which, though, to pivot a little bit, because this is something I did want to talk about, because it was something that you pointed out was a thing what Jay Williams was saying about Giannis not being what a Scottie Pippen or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
I'm done with JWill after that comment, bro.
like I kind of wanted to be like, does he always say dumb things or like?
Yeah.
He look, his hottest takes are always stupid. Like
Yeah.
he's never had a hot take where we're like, okay, that works. His hot takes are always like, what do you? Shut up! Like you just saying this so I can click on the video, and I'm gonna click on the video, but this isn't smart.
Yeah, you're right.
Like
Because he's just like LeBron wasn't all like what used to be a Pippen, but it's just kind of like LeBron was never a Pippen, and like Jordan didn't win until after Pippen showed up. Pippen and Phil Jackson, matter of fact,
Yeah.
but um, and it's just kind of like I get like dudes need to like if you're a best player, you need to learn how to win or whatever. That's not the same as being like, oh, you're a Pippen, because like
Hmm.
Pippen, it's not like what am I trying to say?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you just wake up from a nap?
Me?
Yes.
No, I got done mowing my parents' lawn. It's hot.
All right. But it's just like it's kind of like the first problem with that is like one of the advantages Jordan had over like that Jordan had that Curry has arguably and definitely had um that various other players had that LeBron didn't is like well a couple things. One is like a good like GM. Like Jordan's GM was good. He was egotistical, but he was pretty good at what he did.
yeah,
The GM of the Warriors is good. What's that? Isn't that Jay West?
Yeah, not anymore. He's Clippers.
Okay, okay. But and so like you get a good team built around you.
and
With
you have an owner that will just pay a ton of money.
that of course helps too. Um, and it's like it's when and like it's like LeBron, left Cleveland, but like no one wanted to come play with him. Like that was the only way he would have gotten a ring. Kid, but like 'cause he can carry a team to the finals somehow, but he can't win it himself.
So what are we talking about?
Like so I'm not sure if you look in the like little group text or whatever, Allen sent this clip of Jay Williams saying that Giannis isn't saying that right now Giannis isn't a Jordan, he's a Pippen, and he
Oh,
needs to go and be somebody's Pippen basically
JWill? Was that Richard
right
Jefferson?
now.
JWill.
Jay
JWill?
will, yeah.
Because Richard Jefferson said it on Twitter, right?
They both said it on Twitter, I think.
I think Richard Jefferson was like feeding off of it, but when Richard Jefferson like is jokingly talking, it's kind of hard to take him serious.
Yeah, you can't take. Well, Richard Jefferson generally makes like intelligent basketball calls. Like his takes are generally intelligent. JWill is just generally not. They just are. He just says things, but like he says things in a more articulate way than Paul Pierce, so you kind of gotta respect it. But like at the end of the day, if you look at the substance, he's just saying nothing. Yeah, JWill was tripping. I don't know. I just think this year we're seeing to play in the bubble. You have to be to play very, very well in the bubble. You got to be a dog. Like as a basketball player, you got to be a dog. If you're a dog, if you're not a dog, you're being exposed essentially, right? Especially to people who
Jimmy
like.
Butler's time to shine. I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
I just said it's Jimmy Butler's time to shine.
Essentially, right? Because we all know I hate Jimmy Butler, but like when there's no thousands of people pumping you up, that kind of mentality is what's going to showcase, right? So that's why he's doing this thing, and um, that's why Damian Lillard was doing his thing, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you're the better team. It's going to outshine more times than not. But that's why for Russell Westbrook, excluding last game, but the game before that, for against the Lakers, he was doing his thing. You know what I mean? Because like he's gonna outwork the next person because he doesn't necessarily need a crowd. And I guess Russell Westbrook just needs people's baby mamas and babies to yell at. But like you like those kind of personalities are the ones that are gonna showcase themselves and shine bright. But the Bucks don't have those people like at all. You know what I mean? Like Giannis Giannis has like dog-like moments, but he's not a dog. You know what I mean? Brook Lopez is not a dog. You know what I mean? Uh, uh, who else even have on that team? I'm not gonna lie to you.
Chris Middleton.
Chris Middleton, not a dog. You know what I mean?
Connaughton.
You want like a praying mantis.
Connaughton.
Not a dog. You know what I mean? Eric Bledsoe's the strongest, like the dog-like character on that team, and everybody knows he's not a dog. You know what I mean? He left the Clippers because Chris Paul was a dog for him. You know what I mean? So like, it's not surprising. It's surprising because they're a 1 seed that they almost got swept, but it's not surprising because of the atmosphere of the bubble that they got swept by this Heat team. Now, I don't think they'll go to the NBA Finals, right? Because the Celtics got a lot of dogs. Like the Celtics they got one Marcus Smart is the entire Bucks team. Like Marcus Smart fills that role for the entire team, right? And like a Patrick Beverly will fill that role for like a Clippers team he's like the outlandish dog. The Kawhi Leonard's like a dog, but it's like about it. You know what I mean? He's gonna be real quiet, but it is. But the Bucks just I don't know. But like to make a judgment call on Giannis because of this bubble situation in this playoffs by calling him a Pippen, I don't think that's like a logical explanation, like at all. Like it's you can't take anybody's true character except those person. Like the only thing you can take from this is like, oh, that person works harder than this person from the bubble, right? Because people's shooting percentages are up because they're not looking at thousands of fans. The space is more confined. Like everything is adjusted to make the players better. But if you're gonna be playing a whole team of dogs of Andre Iguodala's and Crowlers and your Butlers and heroes, you're gonna get exposed if your whole team is soft. like no one on the Bucks team has been named non-soft their entire careers, right? They're all finesse 3-point shooters, and Giannis is the only one that gets to the rim. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, like for Richard Jefferson and for more importantly JWill, nonsense JWill, I'll call him from now on. For him to make a judgment call, I'll call him a Pippin, and then tag LeBron and whatever. That's a whole nother can of worms. But it was all really dumb to me.
Yeah. And I agree with you on the dog thing, but like Giannis is also in his 7th year. Like almost no person that I can like think of within like the last like 20 years, unless they had someone else who was completely dominant, they did not win anything of like note before. Like D-Wade was elite in 2006, but he also had like an older version of Shaq who could still get the job done for the most part. And then
that won the championship or got to the championship?
Won the championship in 2006.
Okay. Yeah, Shaq was a year off of his Laker run, so Shaq was still dominant at that point.
Exactly. So you got all of that, and then if you want to go back to like Kobe, 7 years, it's still Shaq. Like,
but what about Dallas though?
That's 2011.
Yes, Dallas was a team-oriented win, like for sure.
That was a really good team in like
full of veterans.
They're exactly like everybody was well past 7 years in the league.
They got George Hill on the Bucks.
No, I'm talking about like your superstar, like the person who's supposed to lead your franchise. Like that doesn't happen in the first 7 years.
No, it doesn't. I mean, Giannis probably leaves. If we're being honest with ourselves, like Giannis probably leaves to go somewhere else. Which he shouldn't, because they've been setting him up for success his entire career. But you're right. First 7 years, not many people automatically come out winning like that. He's probably won more than most people have, right? But when it comes to the playoffs, it has been noted that he comes up short, and sometimes it's his fault. This year, I wouldn't say this is his fault, but last year, getting demolished by Kawhi Leonard was his fault. Or it was Kawhi's fault, but
I mean, like, it is Kawhi.
Like we're also talking about people who just like aren't a good matchup for him. Like Kawhi is probably one of the strongest dudes in the league. And then you match him up with somebody else who's a strong dude that can like match up with him physically 1-on-1. Like that's the issue with Bam. Like people been talking about that like all year. Bam is just fast enough, just strong enough, just tall enough to like somewhat neutralize Giannis. So was Kawhi because he's so much stronger.
Yeah, I mean, but I get it, but I don't get it. I get it because Kawhi, like, period. You know what I mean? Like, it's Kawhi. But Giannis is also, they say 6'10", probably more like 7 foot, and he runs like a deer. And he'll take one dribble after half court and then dunk it. You know what I mean? Like his physical qualities should allow him to be able to dominate somebody at like who is 6'6" and 225 under the rim, but yet he couldn't.
You're talking about
like Kawhi's also got doesn't Kawhi also have like a really long wingspan? Besides that, like it's like all those things are true, but also like they're more advantageous in the open court than like in the half court, because it's like it doesn't matter that you can take one dribble and get to the rim if we're in a half court set. Like if we're in the half court, the fast break is over.
Yeah, but I mean that's also why I would say like Kawhi had a long wingspan for a 6'6" guy. Giannis has a long wingspan for somebody who's 7 foot. Like you know what I mean? Like it's still different, but like I think Giannis' game is so one-dimensional. Like, yeah, he'll hit like a 3 every blue moon or a mid-range every blue moon or whatever. But it's all long transitional points majority of the time, right? Like, it's still no reason why somebody could be built like Giannis. And yeah, you have the capabilities of dribbling the ball and all that kind of stuff, but you should have at least one post move, and he doesn't. You know what I mean? Like he's winning MVP purely based off of physical will and stature, but skill wise,
isn't he a pretty good passer? Or maybe I misunderstood that.
I mean, he's a Right. He's a pretty good passer. If we're saying pretty good, it's like directly under good. Like he's pretty good. He's not good. He's pretty good. He gets the job done. You know what I mean? Like he gets the job done. He'll pass it out to the 3-point line for a shooter. You know what I mean? But that's not nowhere near one of his better qualities. But like I'm just like I get his 7th year, but also his game should have grown a little more than what it is. Like, yeah, we understand you need to be able to shoot a 3, but inside the paint, you aren't that versatile anyways. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't know. I have questions. Like, yeah, he's obviously MVP this year, but like skill wise, right? Like this whole thing can only take you so long of just willing yourself to get points, rebounds, and whatever. Because if you get hurt, what happens? Right? He got hurt. All of a sudden, he couldn't change his game up. And all of a sudden, what happened? He's played on it, just doing the exact same things, and got hurt again, even worse. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I get like if you're, I don't even know how old he is. How does he in the year? 25. Yeah, that's good at 25. Once you hit 30, I don't know. Once you hit 29, really, you know what I mean? I don't know. So I don't know. I'm like I like Giannis a lot, but like I'm also like iffy on like him moving forward. I don't know. But to call him a Pippin is a slap in the face from a guy who was good in college. So like whatever.
In fairness, I think I looked it up. He didn't play in the league because of like a motorcycle accident.
Oh yeah, I mean he did he he hurt his leg doing the motorcycle accident, whatever it is. I think he like lied to his team or something like that.
He hurt more than his leg. Like I think he has like a collapsed lung and whatnot. Like I don't want to get into that because that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about JWill the player because that's a completely different thing. I'm talking about JWill the analyst, and I have issues with
Well, I do the same thing for both because he went to Duke, so I boo him, and he's an analyst. He's a trash analyst, so I boo him still.
I get it, bro. But yeah, man, like I keep seeing like people talking about he needs to go work with Hakeem Olajuwon, and I completely agree. But with that being said, he might also work with Hakeem Olajuwon for like 2 seasons, and we saw what happened there.
Who did?
Dwight.
But Dwight also refused to work with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for some reason. Like, that was a thing. Like, Kareem was like, yeah, he like never called on me to work with me and like that when he played for the Lakers the first time.
I mean, that's refusing to work with somebody. That's just being stubborn.
I mean, that's being ignorant, if you're being perfectly honest. Like, Joakim Noah, who physically is not like the greatest center of all time, physically tools-wise, right? But when he worked out with Kareem for one summer and then won Defensive Player of the Year and like had that monster year, he was getting all those triple doubles. The next year, like people, when you see the track record of people working with Kareem, that like most people work with Kareem. The next summer they do really really well. But for Dwight to be like, no, I'm not gonna work with Kareem, it's a little ridiculous.
But you don't work with Kareem and then get better defensively. You're not going to Kareem for like defensive tactics and whatnot. Like Kareem is a different beast in itself. Kareem helped him do that jump shot. This jump shot. That's what Kareem helped with.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is not disrespect the GOAT on this podcast by you saying Kareem helped him with that jump shot. No. Kareem is a smart enough guy, obviously, in a basketball fazant in terms of IQ and just physical ability that I'm sure that I'm sure if Johnny on Instagram can teach somebody how to play defense with the pads, that Kareem also can do that, being that he is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Bro, you're not going to. That's not what you're going to Hakeem for, bro. But I guess.
Oh, also Hakeem was a bad defender. I don't know where that's not a.
Hakeem. Oh wait, Hakeem. Are we talking about Hakeem or Kareem?
My bad. I'm confusing. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay. You know, like if you go to Kareem though, yeah, you get what you take whatever he gives you. He's one of the greatest players. He knows what he's doing. He's a smart dude.
Yeah, if Kareem goes, today we're gonna work on defense. Sorry, you're gonna work on defense. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Kareem's
I just never heard nobody going to him strictly.
I feel like legitimately Kareem's one of those guys. I feel like Kareem's one of those guys that will watch your tape and go, he needs to work on this, and then we'll work on you with that one thing because he's just a smart guy. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Kareem's like that kind of player.
Yeah.
Or that kind of coach, trainer. Well, I don't know. Whatever word you want to go with.
I don't know, man. I just never heard a story of like that. That's like those two guys that we're talking about, Kareem and Hakeem. When people go there, it's for like footwork. It's to figure out how to do the sky hook. It's not for like.
Ain't no one ever go to. I have
intensity.
never heard one story of Kareem going yes, and then I taught him the infamous sky. No, no one goes to Kareem for the sky.
Nobody else can learn it. Like it's like people have went to him to like try to figure it out. They just can't get it.
No, it's not. People don't go to him for the sky hook because it's not sexy enough. People
What?
like legitimate.
How you gonna tell me?
Why-
Legitimate?
How you gonna tell me what I looked
I'm just
up?
like, why would you never go to him for the sky hook though? It's just like
They-
most of the best players have like some like signature move or whatever. Why wouldn't you want to learn it? Why wouldn't you want to learn the sky hook? Why wouldn't you learn how to like do that like crossover that AI had? Like,
Players
Well,
have
one you don't want.
complicated.
Well, one you don't want to do the crossover AI had because he made that thing illegal. And that's they'll call that trouble every time. Two, the same reason people don't want to go to Korea
wait,
for
they made that.
sky
I'm
hook.
sorry, Paul. They made that illegal.
Yeah, it's a travel or carry. But and the reason like people don't go to Korea for sky hook is the same reason like Will Chamberlain stopped shooting his free throws underhand after one season, or the reason that big men wanted to start dribbling more instead of just going in there and legitimately dominating people in the post. Like at the end of the day, basketball players tend to do things because they think one looks cool and the other one doesn't, or one seems more cool at the time. Like basketball players generally think very trendy and not with like what's smart for what's their like projections as like a stats and career. Like that's like a common thing, you know what I mean? And that's been the case for years. That's a large mindset of the people. You would
Like
you would
pros
assume.
though.
Say it again.
Like pros though.
Yes, pros. Like at the end of the day, these pros, a lot of these pros get there because they're physically gifted, not because they're the smartest people on God's green earth. You know what I mean? Like it's unfortunately but it's true. They have a lot of ego, right? And they do want to. They got the newest shoes, and they want to do the cool thing, not like the the efficient thing. And I've heard stories for years and years and years of like players not doing specific things and wanting to do other things because they thought the other thing looked cool. It seemed cooler than the other way. Like I just mentioned, like the oldest one is Wilt Chamberlain shot his best season underhand as at the free throw line, but then because he played with Rick Barry. But then the reason he changed back to going overhand and being an awful free throw shooter again is because he was like, it don't look good. I don't want to do that. That's literally what he said, and I'm just like, that's like a unfortunate mindset of a lot of NBA players, and it's it is what it is, but that's why Shaq don't work on free throws. Like it is what it is. Like he's more worried about other things. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you can average 30 without shooting free throws, I mean, I guess.
If he would have made free throws, he'd have been the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Like
I think it was close.
what?
I think I watched a video where they did the numbers. Even if he made his free throws at like I think they did like 60 or 70, still didn't pass Kareem. Like that's just how crazy the gap is.
I mean, Kareem's also like LeBron's gonna pass Kareem though. So
Oh yeah, look, we talking about another like physical freak that nobody really planned for.
no, you can't plan for a guy who spends $1 million a year on his body and doesn't get hurt and is 6'5". Oh my bad, and is 6'8", 260, and runs like he's 5'10". Like he's LeBron James is a different animal altogether.
Hey, side note, I don't fully think LeBron spending $1 million on his body matters that much because of what we listen to me on this. What we saw from him at the beginning of his career, like that doesn't just end. I think him being like genetically gifted and then not being hurt for that many years. Because we just heard the $1 million number like recently. Like was that like two years ago? Like I don't know if he was
I heard it before then.
what 3 years ago.
This is my first
I
time.
heard it. I heard it. Community college, like 2004 or not 2004. I was tripping. 2014.
2014. Okay, at that point, LeBron had been in the league for what, 11 years? Like, I doubt 25-year-old LeBron was spending $1 million on his body.
No, he 25-year-old LeBron wasn't spending $1 million on his body, but like to be able to not get hurt, to have that much muscle density, and to be able to like have no kind of like knee issues or whatever, like the stuff, the type of stuff you put into your body and type of way you take care of your body, that is widely expensive. And while while we see footage of Michael Jordan drinking and smoking between games of the NBA Finals on the golf course, LeBron ain't doing that. But also, I think LeBron's motivations were different than everybody else's. If that turns right. Like LeBron's like his motivation is to be the longest, the longevity, the greatest, whatever it is. Michael Jordan was like to be the greatest at that moment. You know what I mean? Like the greatest of all time to beat Larry, but like he had to do it for not as long. But like for LeBron to catch all these stats, he has to have longevity. But like he had to spend that money on his body, and everybody else we see who is physically, because LeBron's not the only physically superior athlete you've ever seen, but every other superior physical athlete we've seen, most of them have dropped off somewhere. Like, no, drop off has been more times than not fairly big. So I'm not going to go on a limb and say that he didn't need to spend $1 million on his body for that to be the case, because he is probably the only example right now of where at 17 years into a profession, sports profession, that he's just as good as he was at year number 9, 8, 7, 6. You know what I mean? So like everybody else, the Ken Griffey Juniors, the I don't even know football. I was like the Ken Griffey
You're not
Juniors.
getting that in football. You're not getting that in football. Unless you
Tom
like
Brady.
Brady.
But Tom Brady is not even athletic. Like he's not physically superior like that. Like I mean, like physical specimens. I don't like the word specimens, but the physical, like they're just physically above everybody else. There's usually they get one injury, boom. They aren't taking things seriously, boom. But LeBron just like still blocking shots with his head at the rim 17 years later. I'm like, how's that even work? Like I don't know. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Does he sleep in like cryo chamber every night? Like how I don't get it. I don't get it.
I agree with you, but just to be petty, I had to look up like when that quote started getting passed around. It was 2016, so ain't no way you heard that 2014 unless you know LeBron personally.
Maybe I do.
You don't.
No, I just remember where I was though. Like because I'm just so many different schools. I just remember what school I was at.
Right. No. Philip, did you watch any of the games this weekend? I have been tied up with AAU basketball because it's like the final week of that joint.
I mean, they shouldn't be playing anyways, but yeah, I got you. I watched the first. I watched the first Clippers Nuggets game. And I watched the Lakers Rockets last night and the first game.
Hot takes. Let's go, JWill.
Ooh, hot takes. I mean, honestly, I don't like Anthony Davis's mindset. I think Anthony Davis is weak. Like, I really think people. Anthony Davis will have one good game and kind of people are like, oh my gosh, like, but more times than not in this bubble scenario, he's been doing fine. Like he's been doing fine. But like for him to be a top 5 player in the league, and some say top 3 player in the league, I'm just like LeBron's really having to carry this thing a little too much. Like LeBron's doing a lot of work. You know what I mean? That first game. Okay, so like Anthony Davis had 34 and 10 the second game, 10 rebounds. With PJ Tucker guarding him, 10 rebounds, but whatever. That's not going to let me forget about the first game where he scores 0 points on PJ Tucker. Like, PJ Tucker is like, Anthony Davis is just weak mentally. So like I hated LeBron for a long time because I remember when I saw LeBron catch the ball in Rondo and like do a fadeaway jumper and like he was with the Heat. I was like, you're humongous. Like, can you get to the rim on this guy? But then Anthony Davis did the exact same thing the entire game with P jump shot, jump shot, jump shot, and miss, miss, miss. I'm like, you are 7 foot. Cast the ball down low and finish. But like he'll have those kind of games all the time, and it puts too much pressure on LeBron James. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, so I know they won or they won the second game, the Lakers. But if you watch the game, the production that the Lakers got out the bench that game was it was normal. It was not normal whatsoever. Like that's not going to be a normal no. But even with that still being the case and LeBron doing his thing and Anthony Davis doing his thing, the Rockets were still tied with 4 minutes left. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be surprised if the Rockets won. The Rockets beat them in this series. I wouldn't be surprised, like whatsoever. And that's gonna be the most interesting series to watch because I don't think the Nuggets are gonna beat the Clippers. I don't think it's gonna be close to tell the truth. Like they won one game, woke the Clippers up. That's what they needed, and I don't think that the Raptors are gonna beat the Celtics. Boston up 9-3 right now. They're gonna win, and then the Heat's gonna beat the Bucks. But the most interesting series right now is this Rockets Lakers series, and if the Rockets win, don't be surprised whatsoever, because once again, James Harden the dog, PJ Tucker the dog, and a bunch of 3-point shooters, and LeBron James has to guard James Harden, but James Harden, no matter who's gonna guard him, is gonna go off. Like no matter who's guarding him, he's gonna do his thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I watched that game, and then when it came to the Clippers Nuggets, the first game, it was Kawhi being Kawhi and like dismantling them. It was embarrassing to watch. Yeah, I just felt bad. And then the second game, it was a blowout. I didn't watch that game, but it's because I was busy doing things. But
did you catch that last game in the Rockets OKC series?
I did. Oh, did that happen last time we talked?
I
don't think it had it. I don't think it. No, it happened a couple days after. I think.
Bro, these weeks are wild right now. Yeah, I did watch that game. That was a good game. James Harden. No, that happened the day of. That happened like that day.
Okay.
It happened last Monday, yeah, because James Harden blocked him and then yelled at him where you can only take this much of his mouth because his beard's so ridiculous. But yeah, I watched that game. Chris Paul's. I don't understand how people keep calling him an all-time great leader, and an all-time whatever. He won nothing. He's won nothing. He still has never made it to a West Conference Finals, but whatever. Or he's never won one. But Chris Paul did his thing for that series, first round. But like they just weren't the better team. Like at the end of the day, that's what it came down to. Game 7 last minute, but it came down to that the Rockets were just a better team. Now, they had me question at first, they should have traded Westbrook for Chris Paul. I was like, but they won, so yeah.
But like, so like, because I had caught like the last little bit of it, which was kind of wild because like it was a whole thing where like PJ Tucker was kind of guarding Steven Adams, but like he was like 6 feet away.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, yeah, you could, and like Steven Adams could just like dunk it or like just get a running start or something. But no, they did none of that.
Bro, I have only seen that like twice in an NBA game where somebody like from that position, somebody does the oop. And it seems like it's open more often than not, or at least you can like figure out a play to get that open, especially like in that game, because they had 2 people that could have did it. Dennis Schroeder had space, like, to cut to the basket. And then with the Steven Adams joint, I was just like
even if you just had Steven Adams, like, have, like, Tucker front him and, like, throw it over the top of Tucker. And just, like, catch and...
That I think that just shows the amount of trust they had in Steven Adams, which was nothing. At the end of the game, you know what I mean? Like, they know their players better than we do. So I'm assuming that, like, the trust factor, because that whole team is very trusting of each other.
They drew that play for Danilo, and Danilo was not hitting shots. So that doesn't, like, fully make sense. Like, especially just I think that was a coaching blunder. And I think nobody else was able to just, like, read. Like, whoever was throwing the ball in bounds, I don't think they just read the play. Like, they wanted to have the play happen. And I was like,
well, but also, like, that team's, like, mad young besides Chris Paul. You know what I mean? So, like,
no, it is.
So, like, that's like it probably was a young person's blunder. You know what I mean? Like, that wouldn't be surprising either.
But,
I want to give you that, but, like, all the players that were on the court at the time, sorry, Calvin, for cutting you off, all the players on the court at the time are considered veterans. Like, Lou Dort, what is it? Lou Dort was the only person. Actually, he might not even been on the court. We're talking about Danilo, we're talking about Steven Adams, we're talking about Chris Paul, and we're talking about Dennis Schroeder. All players who have been in the league more than 5 years.
Does being a veteran matter if you've never been in that position before? So, like, if you've been a veteran for a long time on losing teams, does it, like, it's your first time? Like, Schroeder played with the Hawks for years, but, like, he never won a thing. So this is his first time being in a situation like that. The only one who's been in a situation like this really is Chris Paul. Steven Adams, maybe, but, like, not really.
Adams was on the team that went to the finals, yo. Like,
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
You sure?
They still had James Harden then.
Yeah, he wasn't on the finals team.
What year was that? 2011?
No, was it 2011? Yeah, it was. He wasn't on that team. Steven Adams didn't get to the league till like 2014, 2013, something like that.
We might have. I'm gonna look at that to make sure, because okay. All right, you're right.
Yeah, Adam, look, you chose us for co-host for a reason. Listen to us. Listen to us.
Y'all been right once since we've been together. That's all I gotta say.
You don't even know we've been right. We've been right more than once. This is just the one time you fact checked us.
I fact checked you more than once. We got a whole episode where I fact checked y'all, the entire episode.
But he was right the entire time too. But like, if you're on a losing team, your veteran statuses don't matter if it's your first time at that point.
Okay, so here's the argument I'd make, because, like, not to say that, like, the fact that, like, you haven't been in, like, those positions doesn't matter at all, but, like, when we talk about, like, stars and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
We talk about it like the fact that they haven't been there doesn't matter. Like, LeBron took his teams to the finals when he was younger and got ragged on because he disappeared, as though, like, he'd been there before. So like, I would argue that, like, if we're going to say that the fact that you haven't been there before doesn't matter for stars, then it shouldn't matter for anyone else either.
I get that, but I think we have never made that argument. I think people do make that argument, but I think us here don't make the argument the LeBron, like, he didn't show up because he was, like, I think we, like, that's not, I think I've always thought that was an illogical argument, though.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we've made that argument. I'm just like, that argument.
That argument is made, yeah, you're right. That argument is made, but, like, people who make the argument, like, I think it's ridiculous. It should be ridiculous, right? But, like, I don't know. If it doesn't matter how many years you've been in the league, if it's your first time being in the NBA Finals, like, you're not a veteran of that position. You know what I mean? Like, LeBron James, Steph Curry, anybody from the Warriors, anybody from the Cavaliers, and, like, Kawhi, right? Those are, like, veterans of, like, the finals. But, like, anybody else who makes it, if Russell Westbrook makes it to the finals, he should be graded differently in the finals than what anybody else, even though he's made it once, like his fourth year into the league, or third year into the league, whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like the grading scale should be different, even though he made it there once he was younger. You know what I mean? Like it's not this. The finals is not the same as it is for obvious reasons, and not that many people get there ever. Sometimes no one gets there. So, or no one gets there. It's nuts. Sometimes you don't go. You go your whole career without getting there. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That whole like veteran thing doesn't make sense to me. That aspect.
Something I've thought about though, because like when in that like in the part that I caught of the Rockets OKC like Game 7 or whatever, they talked about how I guess the Rockets had put a whole I guess they gave up a whole lot to get Westbrook, and how like if they had lost basically like their like that whole plan like go all in or whatever kind of would have it's like it failed, but it's like the thing is the team who like you traded to get him took you to 7 games. I would make the argument that it's probably failed already. Like if you're going to be like it's a failed thing, like it technically hasn't because like they haven't lost to the Lakers yet, but like they're going to. If they don't, I'd be surprised.
Hold on. Will they?
They probably will.
Listen, the Lakers were up 14 or 15 in the first quarter because Markieff Morris was 4 for 4 in the first quarter, and they came back and tied the game by the fourth quarter, and then LeBron James I don't think that's such a guarantee if you expect Markieff Morris to make those shots, to expect Rondo to hit buzzer beater threes, to expect Kyle Kuzma to play average defense. Like those are things these people have not done the entire year, and that all accumulated one time last game. So and it was still a close game. So I'm not sure if I don't know. I think this series is more of a chess match than anything else. Because like I think it's gonna go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Because the Rockets aren't the Blazers, right? Like the Blazers have very like two weapons and then a big man who's garbage. But like PJ Tucker knows his role and knows what he's there for, and he got taken out of it a little bit. But I think if you it's been proven over the years actually. If you stick a body on Anthony Davis the entire time of like a short, dense, rough individual, then he's going to not do so well in the long term. You know what I mean? He might do well for because he didn't do well for a whole game. Then he did well for a game, and I think and using past instances, I think we just have to see that like you gotta prove it to us. You know what I mean? But everybody's like needing like James Harden to prove himself. I'm like, he doesn't really need to prove himself. He's whatever. And then like Russell Westbrook does need to prove himself though. Like that's what I will say. Because his numbers last game were, I'm not sure what they were, but I'm pretty sure they weren't efficient. Like he's not doing fantastic, but oh yeah. And also with LeBron James playing like volleyball with everything he throws up to the rim. You know what I mean? Like it's a little ridiculous. I know that's your guy, Allen. I know that's your guy, but oof.
Well, no, I know what Westbrook is. That was my man for what, like 7-8 years. I know exactly what Westbrook is. It's not you're not asking for efficiency. You're asking for production.
No question. When did he start becoming so hesitant on his mid-range jump shot? Because that used to be automatic.
I think that's probably more like a Rockets thing, where they like the scheme is like, hey, we don't really shoot a lot of mid-rangers, bro.
Like they're open from what I hear, right? From what I'm hearing and all they're saying, that they the entire year have been okay with everybody shooting threes, but Russell Westbrook doing a transition and doing the mid-range himself, because Russell Westbrook takes the majority of the mid-range shots for that team. But like yesterday's game 2, he was like hesitant on his mid-range. In my head, I was like, for years that has been like the mid-range elbow has been your thing. Like you can't get to the rim, you do a little
run up,
quick stop up. You know what I mean? Like real quick up, and it automatic. Like, he's been really good at that shot. But the other day he was like real hesitant. I'm like, ooh,
Like he wasn't trying to shoot it at all, or like you could.
When he did shoot it, it was hesitancy. Like because like when you watch him for years, it was get there, jump, go. Like it was like get there, and now look, jump, go. You know what I mean? Like it was a little too slow. And with Anthony Davis and the Lakers, but at the end of the day, they're long as hell. You know what I mean? So like you can't be hesitant on that because when he's hesitant on that, it stops him from being able to get to the rim easier. And I think that's one of the reasons LeBron James was able to just like pick him apart like that in the half court. And I'm just like, you can't do that. But that's film, and I mean, I'm assuming Mike D'Antoni makes his team watch film and all kind of stuff. So we'll see. But that was not a good sign. I will say that.
Just for the record, Westbrook's numbers. He had 10 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. He also had 7 turnovers, and he shot 4 of 15 and 1 of 7 from 3.
See, I'm used to Russell Westbrook getting big boy triple doubles, like 30 points, 15 rebounds. I'm used to that, not 10 points. That's a Draymond Green triple double. We don't get Draymond Green triple doubles, Westbrook. We get Luka. We get.
I mean, it was a double. So.
Oh, you wouldn't even.
No, I said 4 assists.
Yeah.
And only 4 assists on all 3-point shooters. Come on now, you can't get 4 assists. Come on now.
All I have to say is Russell Westbrook is in a completely different situation than when he was getting those triple doubles. Triple double Westbrook is like a special occasion. Like that is because he had to for them to be decent. And I'm talking about them as in OKC. That's not really what he's there to do. I'm pretty sure his triple double numbers have greatly went down since he's been with the Rockets.
Absolutely. You're not averaging a game.
That's not what his job is.
You're right, but his job is also not to score 10 points. Like that's how. Calvin, how many shots did he take?
15.
How many did he make?
4.
Come on now, it's ridiculous. Like Russell Westbrook, because it's his fault, has put a standard on himself that's really high. Like you're welcome. This is what you do when you become like a great player. To get 4 or 15, that's not what you do. Like you are better than that. And he was over here missing layups and doing he didn't seem as explosive as he is. Like he was hurt. What was he? Was his quad that was hurt?
Yeah.
It's gotta still be bothering him because he does not look nearly as explosive, dangerously explosive as Westbrook usually is. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. It's not. I'm not seeing it.
Look, I'm an OKC fan. Westbrook's game has never really been efficient. So if you thought he was about to shoot well, that's not who you traded for ever. And his production was that high because it had to be. Like those 10 points, you should be glad. Especially after the quad injury, you should be glad he even gave you that much. Because it was a while, I think the series before, people were like, I think he came back for a couple games with OKC, and people were like, what is this?
No, I agree with you, but 10 points from him is unacceptable. How old is he? How old is Westbrook? 30?
He should be in his 30s by now.
He's 30, right?
Derrick Rose is 31.
31? Okay, so 10 points is unacceptable for him. Your standard's too much for that. I know your role for this team is different, but 4 for 15 is not good in any context. And they were forcing him to shoot threes. They were staying back on him like old school Rondo. And do you know how disrespectful that is? Because Rondo at that point could not shoot at all. They should be keeping like that.
Westbrook can't shoot. If you look at his 3-point numbers for the year, that boy can't shoot. He can't shoot the 3. And I know you're talking about the dribble pull up, but if we're also talking about the quad injury, that's what it is.
Man, listen. No excuses.
That's what you put. Look.
I mean, he was shooting 25% from deep on the year, regular season.
What about bubble though? Is there a way you can find what he's shooting in the bubble?
Well, in the postseason, he's shooting 16% from 3 through 5 games played.
That just made my stomach hurt. Like, I could shoot 60% from three. Like, that's how do you do you not work on it? You know what I mean? What's his best season?
I mean, if he's hurt, it's gonna affect it. But,
what's his best season from three? Like ever?
let me see.
Probably like 35% on like
Exactly.
1.2 attempts a game.
I was thinking the exact number.
Let's see, best percentage is 30. Yeah, 34%.
What year?
16, 17.
How many attempts?
7.2.
He was chucking that year. I forgot.
He
was chucking.
It was shocking. Man, that was that year though. You know what I mean? Like that was the first year Kitty left, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it was the year after.
Well, that's when he was getting them.
Well, no, this is he had averaged a triple double that year.
Yeah, so it was a year. Yeah, he had to do his thing. I hope though that Russell Westbrook having that kind of having that kind of load on him for that many years, like 2 or 3 years for Oklahoma City, didn't like wear his body down too much. You know what I mean? Like not everybody's LeBron. Like a normal person who's just athletic, that's gonna tear them down. So I'm hoping that's the case because the explosion I'm seeing out of Westbrook right now is not what I'm used to, like at all.
I mean, two things. I completely agree with you. Also, the quad injury, like right now, I could definitely see that slowing him down. And secondly, I could see this being like, this is where we start seeing like the decline of Westbrook, like depending on how he recovers and how soon the next season starts up. Because if the next season starts up in like, let's say they get done in October, which is next month, like 3 weeks from now, and they're playing again in, let's say, around Christmas time. I don't know, bro. I really don't know.
Have they decided what the next season is going to look like in terms of like scheduling?
Of course not. At least they haven't said anything publicly.
I think the draft is supposed to take place right after the finals. That doesn't say much.
Is it gonna? Are we gonna have basketball games on Labor Day every year now? Like because of the coronavirus, has it shifted? Like
No.
how?
No.
No.
Yeah, okay. I think they're going to rush this season for some. Instead of just scrapping the season, like I said, they're going to have these 2 quick seasons that both probably going to have asterisks next to them in the grand scheme of things, and then they're going to go back to normal after this. After the next season.
I hope they don't have asterisks next to them though. Because
contextually, we will always remember this as the asterisk seasons. Like, oh, those the coronavirus seasons. That's
asterisk in a negative way. Asterisk in a negative way. That's what I'm saying. Asterisk in a negative way. Because like this is a tough season. Like if you win this, you win in something. Like you better get a gold medal. You better get air conditioner or something. You know what I mean?
I get it, but when we get farther from this and we look at how many games people played, that is going to be that analyst that brings up, I mean, it was a shortened season. Of course.
Yeah, but like we don't take them seriously.
It doesn't matter. It's going to be the zeitgeist.
If an analyst brings up a strike year or something like that, then I'm like, I don't take you seriously. Then like I never have for any sport. Like the people who bring those up. If you have to bring up a strike year to validate your argument, like you're nonsense. Whatever you're saying is nonsense. Like, and I've never heard a good argument that's like been validated by bringing up a shortened season or like whatever. Or before now, it would be like a strike season or something like that. Never in my life has that ever happened. Like the Skip Bayless would do something like that. Like we don't like Skip Bayless.
That's true. But Skip Bayless also been on your TV for what, 20 years?
I don't care. Yeah, I don't like him. That's because
like people like Skip Bayless are sadly part of the issue, but those are going to be prominent people that I hope no one actually quotes. But somebody will quote them. Philip, as you always say, not everybody knows basketball. But everybody knows a good story.
Unfortunately.
That's a quote, bro. Hey, sign me up. That's gonna be the name of the podcast.
That's a long name, but okay.
Damn.
It was in quotations.
Sorry.
All right, Alan. So what you got about on the high school stuff?
Okay, let me pull out my handy dandy notes. So the name of the event was War Before the Storm. It was like the last Big Bang group that we got. I mean, the last group outing that we got out here. I kind of just focused on dudes that were like major game changers. First dude is Pierre Hunter, point guard, 2022. And he just kind of whacks people as like a ball handler. Dude's like 6'2", like super quick. Like nobody, like they try to do a full court like trap, and he just slipped past them like every single time on like 5 plays. Like the coach had to like call timeout to like pull it back and whatnot. And then once he got into the half court, still like the quickest dude on the court. So like 1-2 crossover, he's in the paint, finding teammates, cutters, everything. And then rising senior Mason Gibson out of Allen High School. He was just like the best defensive guard on like day one, like stripping people. You can't really get past them. Surprisingly, really fast in the open court, had all the vision, touch, all that. Then another 22 guy, Ben Johnson, really known as a shooter. Nice half court guard that can like set up your offense, and just a really, really good shooter. Like he had like a little 5-point swing to tie his team up late, hit a 3 in transition and came back and hit another 2. And then the dude that I really liked, that's for me under the radar, Montez Young. What? Would you laughing at?
Nothing.
Whatever, bro. But 6'5" dude, and just like the best athlete on the court. Like it's kind of, I have to say this again, like, and I really mean this, kind of ridiculous how good of an athlete he was. Like catching like putbacks in like crowded lanes with like dudes that are like 7 foot is like he was able to guard everybody on the court just because he's more athletic and plays harder than everybody. And then the top tier guys probably Kel Ware out of Arkansas, 7 foot dude, and just like he moves like really well, and he like couldn't keep him off the offensive glass, and just a ton of putbacks. Like they had him playing in the 8 a.m. game, which I think is disrespectful, and he had like 3 putbacks against like everybody else on the team was like 6'8". Like they just couldn't stop him. But yeah, like those are the name dudes of note. There was some other top dudes like Harrison Ingram at the event, but I ain't really watched them because they don't really need the shine, bro. Like you already top 15 in the country, you fine. Yeah.
Wow, sounds like a lot of prospects.
Yeah, notable names, you know.
Sound like me. Keep going though.
What'd you say?
Nothing. Keep going.
Oh no, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. If y'all don't got nothing else, we can get on up out of here.
Nothing. Basketball is in full form, full effect.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Traveling Hoopers. I am again your host, Alan Pettigrew, and these two dudes can sign off.
I'm Calvin McGowan. Thanks for listening. Oh yeah, the YouTube thing. Like, share, and subscribe.
Oh yeah. I'm Philip Dixon, aka What It Do Boy. And go down low and subscribe. That's what they say, right? That's what the kids say.
I don't know, bro.
And click the bell for all notifications, or whatever they say, something like that.
Yeah.